It only takes 2 steps to kill the President of the United States. The first step is to wait for the President to sit on the helicopter. The second step is to use the American self-made anti-aircraft missile to aim and fire. The aircraft in the rear is shot down first. The young marshal and the President did not expect that they would be attacked when they flew into the air. The two looked down and found that the killer on the roof had already loaded the missile. The pilot found the helicopter locked. Immediately released the interference missile to avoid attack. After successfully shooting down a missile, the helicopter flew around the tower, but there were terrorists all the way. The attack was a wave after wave. The helicopter ran out of interference missiles. In order to protect the President's safety, the young marshal ordered the aircraft in the rear to use his body to block the missile. The aircraft was shot down, but the missile was not used up. The President's plane was locked again. The secretary shed tears in despair. After a loud bang, the helicopter's cockpit was destroyed. Before hitting the tower, the young marshal opened the safety latch. The helicopter hovered in the air for a few days. In the end, it hit the ground heavily. The general was already dead here, but the President was only slightly injured under the protection of the young marshal's protagonist. The unfortunate secretary died on the spot because he was too far away from the protagonist and was pierced by fragments. The two who escaped death called for help, but London's power system had been cut off by terrorists. It even blew up the city's communications towers. At this time, the motorcycle killer was coming this way. The young marshal could only hide in the woods with the President. On the other hand, the attack on the protagonist White was in contact with the U.S. government. He said he was doing this for revenge. It turned out that 2 years ago, the U.S. bombed White's house in a midwinter air raid. His close friends and neighbors were killed on the spot, and this operation was co-authorized by several Western countries. So he assassinated the British Prime Minister. He wanted to kill them all when these Western leaders came to London for a banquet. The young marshal led the President to wander in the streets. After killing a few pursuers, the two came to the safe house of the British military. Soon, they found a pair of American soldiers in the surveillance camera. The young marshal thought there was something wrong with them. After zooming in on the surveillance camera, he found that the soldiers were carrying heavy equipment through the battlefield. There was no sweat. He concluded that this was a fake by the terrorists. The young marshal told the British agent to leave first. Let them find out who the British government is. Take your own weapons and ammunition. Explode a fierce battle with the enemy who broke in. After the battle, the young marshal took the President to the U.S. Embassy. When the two passed through the crossroads, the terrorists ambushed them in advance. They shot at them crazily. The President didn't dare to open the oil door and ran all the way. He finally rushed out of the encirclement. When they were lucky enough to escape death, a truck suddenly rushed out of the road and hit the tanker. The two were badly hit. The U.S. President still had a hard time escaping the fate of being kidnapped, but the terrorists made a mistake in not having a knife. They saved the young marshal's life. Not long after, the British Special Forces met with him. Now there is not much time left for the young marshal, because a performance to execute the U.S. President is about to be broadcast live to the world.